reviews from HBCU economists. And so I've got a question for you. How do countries find mutually agreeable trades? And so when you think about trades, you might be thinking about sports where you have lopsided trades such as the Los Angeles Lakers acquiring Anthony Davis from the Pelicans for very little. But actually, we're not talking about those type of trades. In this case, we're talking about two countries trading goods or services with each other. But this is an example where the exchange benefits everyone. And so here what we want to do is talk about a couple of concepts. These two concepts are opportunity costs and comparative advantage. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at two countries, Kenya and Ghana. And then we're going to look at them producing bananas and oranges. And so we have a production possibilities table for two countries. And so Ghana, let's assume they use all their resources to make bananas, all of their labor and so forth. Then they would make 210 bananas and 0 oranges. Or if they decide to devote all their labor and resources to oranges, it would be 70 oranges and 0 bananas. And for Kenya, it would be 250 bananas and 0 oranges if they devote all their resources to bananas. However, it would be 50 oranges and 0 bananas if they devote all your labor and resources to oranges. And so what we want to do here is figure out comparative advantage. So I'm actually going to start with Ghana, and I'm going to start with oranges first. And so from the table, we know that Ghana will produce 70 oranges. And when they produce 70 oranges, they're going to give up 210 bananas. And so what we want to do here, that's their opportunity cost for 70 oranges. However, we want to do it in terms of 1 orange. So what we want to do here then is divide both sides by 70. And so by doing that, we can see how many bananas they give up when they produce 1 orange. So that is where we get 1 orange. I forgot to divide that by 70. So divide both sides by 70, and we should get 3 bananas. And so that means for every orange that's being produced in Ghana, they're giving up 3 bananas in production. And so now let's look at Kenya. And here with oranges, they're producing 50 oranges. And when they do that, that means they're giving up the opportunity to make 250 bananas. And so now we want to divide, that's the opportunity cost of producing 50 oranges, but to make comparisons between Ghana and Kenya, we want to make it in like units to make a more accurate comparison. So that's why we want to do it in terms of 1 for both. So therefore, what we will want to do is divide both sides by 50 in this scenario. So 250 divided by 50. And so for every orange that they produce, they're giving up 5 bananas. And so how it works with comparative advantage, a country has a comparative advantage in oranges if they can produce that orange by sacrificing less, or in other words, having a lower opportunity cost. And so 3 is less than 5. So in this case, Ghana has the comparative advantage in oranges. Now we could do it in bananas, but actually what one key point to know is that no country can have the comparative advantage in both goods. So if we know that Ghana has the comparative advantage in oranges, then that automatically means Kenya must have the comparative advantage in bananas. And so that's important because we want to find out what good each country should specialize in. So now the next step is, based on the data, we're going to draw a production possibilities frontier for both countries. And so with Ghana, we're going to look at first, they can either produce 70 oranges and 0 bananas, which we're going to call point A, or they can produce 0 oranges and 200 bananas, which we're going to call point B. So let's look at what that would look like. So as I stated before, point A would be 70 oranges and 0 bananas, which is point A. And then point B would be 210 bananas and 0 oranges. But notice here I circled this point C. So this is actually the point that citizens in Ghana would most desire. So you would think that they would want a combination of the two goods, and so that's why we're picking this. So this at point C, it's 20 oranges, and then notice this is in between 140 and 160. So this is 150 bananas and 20 oranges. And so now when we think about Kenya, they can produce either 50 oranges, 0 bananas, we're going to call that point Z, or 0 oranges and 250 bananas, which we're going to call point Y. And so those are the opposites that they can choose. But here we're going to say the allocative efficient point, the one most desired by Kenyans, is going to be 30 oranges and 100 bananas. And we call that point X. So that's where this point is. That's 30 oranges, 100 bananas. And so here, the key here for both Kenya and actually if we were to go back to Ghana, what we're trying to do is with trade, is it possible for both countries to consume beyond what they can produce? So any area or region to the right of the production possibilities frontier is impossible without trade. So we're going to see with trade, does it become possible? And so the same thing with Kenya, we're going to see what is impossible without trade. Is it possible with trade? And so that's what we're going to look at. So really the key here to finding a trade that's going to be mutually agreeable here is we need to find the difference between the two opportunity costs with Ghana and Kenya. And remember, we already done this. And so actually what I'm going to do is show the differences between the two opportunity costs. But then I'm also going to show you where this is in the textbook. Notice with Ghana, the opportunity cost is 3 bananas. With Kenya, the opportunity cost is 5 bananas. So the trade, the ratio of oranges and bananas, they have to fall between 3 and 5. And so the next thing that I want to do is open up OpenStax here, OpenStax Principles of Macroeconomics. And I'm actually going to scroll down here to international trade. And so what we're going to reference here is 20.2. Is what happens when a country has an absolute advantage in all goods. However, what I want to focus on is mutually beneficial trade with comparative advantage. And they talk about the importance of getting the opportunity cost. But if we scroll down further, this is the key right here. When this heading here, how opportunity cost sets the boundaries of trade. That's what I just described here. That's the important concept to understand to figuring out how to find the range of mutually agreeable trades. And so let's see how it works. So one thing we need to understand here is Ghana and Kenya before trade. Remember, I pointed out point C for Ghana, that's 20 oranges and 150 bananas. And then I point out Kenya producing 30 oranges and 100 bananas, that's point X. Now with trade, is it possible for to consume what would be impossible without trade? So let's look and see. Okay, after trade, what we're going to assume here is that both will specialize in the goods where they have the comparative advantage. And so in this specialization, we're going to have Ghana producing 70 oranges and 0 bananas. Remember that being point A. Kenya would produce 0 oranges and 250 bananas. And so the ratio we agreed on, or they agreed on for trade, we're going to say Ghana's going to trade 1 orange in return for 4 bananas. Note that 4 is in between 3 and 5. So this should be a trade that would be mutually beneficial to both countries. So let's see if that's the case. So in this case, we're going to specifically say that Ghana's going to trade 20 oranges in return for 80 bananas from Kenya. And so remember where Ghana was before this trade. They produced 70 oranges and 0 bananas. So, and then Kenya, there were 0 oranges and 250 bananas. So see when this trade occurs, how that production changes. And I also want you to note that this ratio of 20 to 80 does match this range of 1 orange in return for 4 bananas. So let's look at Ghana. notice this new point here is beyond the production possibilities frontier. Let's show how we got to that point. So they were at point A, which was 70 oranges. They traded away 20. So therefore you go down 20, 50, and notice that's where I hit point D. And so now if you go straight down, note that's 80 bananas because that's what they get in return. 20 oranges, they get 80 bananas in return. So notice that at point D, that's preferable to point C because it's to the right of the production possibilities frontier. And due to that, they actually gain 50 oranges in that scenario. And so they're better off. Now let's look at Kenya. Now remember they're at point Y. And so they had to trade 80, 80 minus 250, that's here 170. And so now when you go up here, notice that this point W is to the right of the production possibilities frontier. So that means that's a gain for them. And notice here, they have 20 oranges in the scenario. And so because it's to the right of the production possibilities frontier, this is a point that would not have been possible without trade. And so in summary, this shows that overall there's a benefit to free trade for both Ghana and Kenya because both benefit from the exchange. And when you think about both countries, now they're able to consume at a point that was beyond what they could produce. So that's that's certainly a benefit. Now let me please note here in this scenario, that does not mean that individually there aren't some losers in this exchange. For one, when you are specializing in all bananas, and in this case that would be Kenya, that means there are orange workers that now have lost their job. And conversely with Ghana, by them producing all orange or specializing in oranges, they had to lay off banana workers. So there are some losers in this exchange. However, by by having trade, now the benefit here is now as a society they can consume more goods and services, they're more efficient, they can grow. And so yes, you might have lost a job in one sector, but now there's opportunity, there's more opportunities, more economic growth, there's more opportunity to get jobs in another sector. And so that's the key point to be made here is that yes, free trade does eliminate some jobs, but then you can't ignore the fact that also free trade creates more jobs. So when prices are lower, now people have more disposable income to spend on more goods and services. And so that's the last point that I